You know, you look a bit sharp here. You look like you're looking for a second wife.
Yeah. Maybe one day.
Okay, are you married?
No, not yet.
Would you say you're polygamous by nature?
I think to an extent, if all men tapped into like their real desires, and if they could have the power, not all men, lots of men, if they could tap into their desires, they would actually go for that. But the thing is, lots of men cannot do that because they're not strong enough or powerful enough, right? But if you look at kings of old, for example, some of these kings had 500 girls or harems, right? I'm not saying that that's Islamically right. You know, obviously we have our own take on that, but as far as I'm aware, I'm not the best at Muslim knowledge. I do have quite a bit there, but as far as I'm aware, it's up to 4, and that's open to debate, obviously. But yeah, if you were really strong and you had a lot of money, and that's why lots of, for example, these Arab guys do it, right? They're Islamic, they're religious, but they can do it, and they do it. When
there's a lot of people, there's a lot of men who don't have the money to do it as well. But are you polygamous by nature? Meaning, that would you agree that most men are polygamous by their nature? That if they could, they would have a second or third wife or fourth wife?
Yeah. So,
am I right or wrong saying that?
I would say you're right, and I'm a big fan of biology. People ignore biology and people ignore science, but I think science and religion can go hand in hand. And the reality is, you know, like I'm going to be very crude. Men like to spread their seed, right? They like to have lots of children when possible and if possible. And that might, Genghis Khan, example, he had 12,000 women, right? And
12,000.
Yeah, and that any animal in the animal kingdom, we're not animals, right? But obviously we're part of nature and we have very similar tendencies, right? And in line with that, lots of men would love to have lots of children by lots of different women to differentiate the genetic pool. And this is factual based on scientific evidence, but again, it's just that lots of men can't because it costs a lot to manage a wife.
Okay, look, can't and won't are separate discussions, Every man would want to. They would not say I won't or I wouldn't do it.
I think there's a very rare man.
It's I can. Yeah, look, there's exceptions to the rule.
I agree.
Majority of men are polygamous by nature. Now, if a woman's watching this, if she came and said, "Oh, you're a misogynist," or etc., why are men polygamous? Where does this come from?
Well, if she was to say you're a misogynist, I think that's just an emotional response. It's very easy to label someone something very quickly, and the bar to call someone a misogynist is very low these days, right? But again, going back to the why, you see a burger, you start salivating, you feel hungry. Why? Because it has.
You're equating women to burgers now.
No.
You're finished.
No. Or anything. Let's say fresh air. If you didn't have fresh air for a long time, you would crave it because that's our natural human instinct. Women tend to like one guy.
They're monogamous.
They're a lot more. Well, it depends on the circumstances, right? If you break it down. So, for example, these days in the Western world, women are cheating as much as men, if not more, and that is a fact.
They what?
They're cheating more than men.
Why is that?
Official studies, by the way.
Yes.
And the reason is, one, it's very easy. There's things like no-fault divorce, right? There's things like dating apps and Instagram, right? Even Muzmatch, allows things like that. Back in the day, if you were someone's wife, you were under hijab, you were in his house, you would not leave without his permission. I'm not saying that that's the optimal scenario religiously, but that's just how the world was, right? These days, if your wife has Instagram, I'm sorry to say, there's lots of people sliding into her DMs, and they're better than you. They can offer her more money than you, and under those circumstances, women are not monogamous at the same time.
I have a theory.
Yes.
I believe women are still monogamous by nature. The reason they are becoming polygamous is the following reason. It's a theory. And I believe it's quite a strong theory. If anyone can debunk me, please come ahead. Go ahead. When men are polygamous, what happens usually, so let's imagine a man and a woman, they're in a relationship, outside, let's not put Islam, a non-Muslim. That guy is there for one reason. She thinks he loves her. He doesn't. He's there for one reason. Once he gets what he wants, he says, you know what, I don't think we're compatible. A lot of arguments happen. He breaks the relationship up. She is under the assumption of what? I was in a relationship and we was not compatible, so he moved on.
Yep.
She meets another guy.
Yep.
The guy has the same agenda.
Yep.
She meets another guy. The guy has the same agenda. By now she's got 3 body counts.
Yep.
And it's going up.
Yep.
What she doesn't realize is that because she sees men acting in that way, then they start rebelling and saying men are trash.
Yep.
Why are men trash? Because you have made yourself so accessible so easily that men are, there's no responsibility. I could just go ask you out, take you on a first date, a couple of days, and have what I want. So why on earth would I stay with you or be committed to you? So therefore, men, the woman's body counts are quite not as bad as a man's, but I believe it stems from this because women are monogamous by nature, and they are looking for that Romeo, and they realize every Romeo they come across is not Romeo but a fraud. So therefore, what they're doing is they're thinking, you know what? I've had 4 body counts, and all of these men have come and used me. I'm going to become a, excuse my language, a HOE. So therefore, I'm going to go do what they're doing. But what they don't understand is that the more you do that, the more your pair bonding reduces. Because when women have intimacy, they release a hormone called oxytocin, which helps pair bonding. And studies show that women who have one partner or one, yeah, sure, you can have one. So a woman who is married, who is a virgin, has 80% more likely to have a relationship lasting more than a decade. So what women don't understand is that the way men sleeping around, and by the way, it's both haram in Islam. They're both is capital punishment. Don't get twisted. But the reason you're doing that, you are shooting yourself on the feet. It doesn't affect the man as much because in his biology and the way he's programmed, he can have multiple wives. So the point I'm trying to say is, I believe it stems from there.
You know what? I agree with you a lot. In fact, almost like 98%. The only thing is, firstly, a lot of people aren't very smart, in society, and the way I think we need to understand the underlying principles of why things are. You know, people take a religious side. I'll give you a small example. Every girl, when she marries these days, she says we were created in pairs. That's like a catchphrase these days. It's on wedding cards, it's on wedding cakes, everywhere.
Soulmates.
And she will have had lots of guys, and she's gonna say this new guy number 134, is my new soulmate. That's not how it works. And that ayah doesn't even necessarily mean that. For example, we created you in pairs, right? I think the Quran is very poetic. It is very metaphorical. It does not necessarily mean that, okay? And it does not mean that there was some special soulmate created for you. Soulmate myth is romanticism, but that's an example of how societal conditioning.
Pairs can mean male and female.
No, as in it could literally be referring to chromosomes. It could be.
No, it can. They can even refer to a man and a woman. You're in pairs.
As in,
it's because otherwise you got the marrying 2, 3s, and 4s.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't contradict that, or doesn't it abrogate it?
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't necessarily mean there's one special guy out there for you, right? And vice versa. But the point is,
there might be, but that one special guy can also be special for other women as well, because by getting married again.
You know. Here's an interesting fact.
It can be special for a couple of women.
Here's an interesting fact. More people believe in the soulmate myth than God. Like in the Western world. Official studies again.
Interesting.
And a lot of these things are official studies, but we listen to societal messaging. I'll give another example of societal messaging. The body positivity movement. I'm giving advice to a girl on how to get married. She's very overweight, and I told her to lose weight in a very respectful and nice way. I told that to some girl I went to meet for a rishta. She was like, you should tell her to just love herself. That is complete BS. No matter how much she loves herself, she cannot get a guy by staying fat and loving herself a lot. That's just not how reality works.
Next time you visit this rishta, tell her that next time she meets a guy for marriage, if he's 5'4",
exactly.
and she tells him, oh, I think you're a bit short for me, tell him to love himself too.
There's a lot of double standards out there. Some are wrong and some are right. And one thing is, men hate hoes. It's a fact. No one will say this to you. Men hate hoes.
Oh, sorry, okay.
So men do not like women that have slept around a lot. And again, that is rooted in biology, because that would put the risk of paternity it would increase the risk of paternity, right? So for example, if a girl's been with 10 guys, biologically, you're like, there's a good chance that's not my kid. I should not invest in her. I do not like her. Your feelings of love and romance do not come. Exactly. One of the quickest ways to turn a guy off is to be a hoe, right? And that is a fact of life. A guy sleeping around and a girl sleeping around in a practical sense has very big differences. It is both a sin. Both a sin.
Let's make it very clear. What we're saying is that biologically, and the way Allah's created us, one has a greater impact on the on females than the males. This doesn't mean that the sin is not the sin. And by the way, just to make it clear, that the ayah in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about that chaste women are for chaste men is not talking about virgin girls. If a woman genuinely repents, she has a right to ask for a virgin guy in Islam. Just to make that clear.
She has a right, but I'm going to say something. She doesn't have the same ability. If you've been with 20 guys and you've magically turned religious, and this happens a lot, and the reason is girls realize their mistakes, but your emotional tendencies are going to be worsened. If you tell someone honestly that you've been with 20 guys and you tell them that you've changed religiously,
we would advise not to.
Lots of guys will not put up with that, right? Because
why? Okay, let me ask you a question.
Biology.
Why is it okay for a man to sleep around, but when it comes to a woman, it's not the same? Why does a man reject that?
There are lots of, again, it all goes back to biology. As a woman, it is very easy to sleep around. As a guy, it requires a lot of skill, money, looks, health, etc. But that's not even the base reason. The reason is men don't get pregnant. So women get pregnant. So if she's sleeping around with 20 guys, what's the chances of you being the father of that child? 5%. If you're sleeping around with lots of girls,
It's haram.
Yeah, I'm just giving an example.
You know who the father is and you know who the...
But again, it comes down to biology. I'll give a small example of biology. People respect a strong physical man. That doesn't necessarily have much to do with religion.
I don't think you should talk about me.
Yeah, I like that.
I joke.
But as in, if you were to see a guy who's 6'6" and has huge muscles, you will not get rude to him. That has nothing to do with religion.
Not exactly, but that's in a woman's nature. She's hypergamous by nature, so she looks for... See, the thing is very interesting. We accept the woman the way they are. They're hypergamous by nature. They look for a man who is tall, strong, leader, provides, protects. But then when it comes to our nature of being polygamous,
we get shamed.
No, when it's like, okay, I'm polygamous by nature, and for example, I believe every man is polygamous by nature, we're blamed for it. The same goes with fat shaming. If I went to a girl and I said, you know what, I think you should lose a bit of weight in a respectful way, and be like, you know what, I'll be like, how dare you say that to her? But if she can be the same girl that comes and says, I want a guy that's below 6'2". So the thing is, why is there double standards? Why is it when it comes to a woman's weight? Because you can control your weight. I can't control my height.
I think there's two reasons. One is women are more emotional, right? It's true.
Are you being misogynist now?
No, it is true. It is absolute fact. Men go to war, they fight their emotions, and they go to war. They bullets flying by, and you will still charge to the front line if you believe in the cause.
Yes.
A woman cannot do that to the same extent. Some women can.
There's exceptions to the rule.
There's exceptions to the rule. So I went LSE, so I'm kind of smart, But if you look at like normal distributions, the normal distribution for male bravery is way higher than female bravery. It's just how it is. Of course, you might get exceptions. So when a woman hears you need to lose weight, she takes that personally. She gets more emotional. When I hear that, I'm a bit chubby nowadays. I'll be like, okay, you know what? I need to go to the gym. It's as simple as that. I get told that's how it is. I have to do it. I'm a doer. I'm not going to try be a talker or go like, oh no, you know what? You shouldn't have that preference. That's your preference.
Okay.
And that's how it works. So that's thing number one. And the second thing is the sisterhood.
Okay.
The sisterhood, feminism, it's an echo chamber. All these girls.
I think it's a cancer.
All these girls telling each other, just accept yourself, just love yourself.
It's not good.
Now feminism is so strong. We have somehow convinced fashion outlets to put pictures of big, beautiful women. I'm not saying that's allowed or whatever. Obviously, it's haram. You shouldn't have pictures out there in society, anyways, in a religious sense. But that's told. We managed to the sisterhood has managed to convince some people that big is beautiful these days.
No.
Complete BS.
No. I disagree with you. It can be because you need to understand there are different men.
Generally,
I understand, but there's occasions to the rule. Some women can't control their weight for a variety of health reasons. No, let's be real. There are medical reasons. Okay, so that can happen, but I understand where you're coming from. There are exceptions to the rule. We don't want our sisters who are watching. Some might be overweight. They should work on it. But if they can't, they shouldn't be made.
Sorry for being a bit rude.
No, it's fine. But they shouldn't be made to feel ugly. There is someone for everyone. Just to make that clear. I know where you're coming from. I know where you're coming from.
If you want to increase your marital success in terms of choosing someone, you have to cultivate yourself according to the other gender. It's just how it is. As a guy, if you're poor and you're fat, you're not going to get a lot of options. You have to work on yourself to become educated, good looking, have some money, have some assets, be able to provide a good lifestyle, have a sense of leadership. On the female side, it's the same. If all men go...
It's not the same. Because we don't look... When I look for a potential, I don't care how much money she makes.
Yeah, no. I was going to say it's the same logic in the sense that you have to improve.
Okay.
So if a guy wants a feminine woman, if a guy wants a girl who's not a hoe, if a guy wants a girl who's sweet and smiley, whenever some girl asks me, what do you want? I say, I just want a sweet and smiley woman.
No, obedience. We look for obedience. That's what we do here. We look for a woman who's obedient. And when I mean obedient, people get this notion of like, I go home and I punch you in the face. And
Agreeable.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, for example, as a man, if I come and say, I would not like you to go to a holiday with your friends. For example, the way you dress is maybe a bit provocative. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I would look for that, and every man looks for that. So, what? It's okay, because at the end of the day, that's what I look for. But some woman will say, well, hold on a second, who are you to give those rules? Well, you're the same woman who, within your nature, you look for a guy who's taller, protector, provider. You look for these things. I don't blame you for that, but you're blaming me for the things that I look for.
You know what? I'll tell you guys a quick story. So the internet is amazing and it's really bad. The internet has caused this cancer in many ways, right? Because it's an echo chamber. People can share lots of messages really quick, and we all have a confirmation bias where we look at things that align with our views, and we go like, you know what? This is right. This person is 100% right, but that's just because we think we're right? So back in the day, I used to be a very like romantic person. I used to think women are all sweet, nice, and everything spice, or whatever the phrase is.
Did someone hurt you?
See, that's the thing. That's the thing that gets brought up. The first phrase that gets thrown at you. Did someone hurt you?
Yes.
The answer is yes, and the reason is that's what helps you learn.
Yes, but let me tell you something. I will tell you, I was like, before Islam, I lived in Jahiliyyah, 2 decades of Jahiliyyah. There was a time in my life where, for example, some girls hurt me. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I didn't look the way I looked or was in the path. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I did. The reason I'm asking it is because sometimes what happens is you can use it in a healthy way and channel that energy into making yourself a better man.
And that's what you have to do, 100%.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's understandable. But again, the reason I'm asking you that is because these women get upset, and they are the same women who have caused, for example, when you was a good guy, when, like say the good guys finished last, etc., they didn't want to know you. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's like they cause that spiral, and then when they make a man, like, and I believe Andrew Tate is a byproduct of that. I believe he was hurt when he was young.
I don't think you have to get hurt, right? It's just seeing reality for what it is. I'll give an example. If you get rejected by an assessment center, like an interview or something, you don't have to get hurt, but you learn from it. Next time, the chances of you doing that successfully is a lot higher. It's all it is. You just have to learn from whatever your experiences are, what your mistakes are. Any endeavor in life, you mess up, you learn. You fail at a business, you mess up, you learn. You fail at squatting, right? You're failing at 100 kgs, you go again and you learn, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to get hurt. But all it is we come, especially when we're younger, we have lots of social conditioning around us. Oh, buy her flowers. Oh, take her to a £200 date, whatever. And then one day,
mad, but 30, 40 pounds mad.
Do you realise that doesn't even work?
Mad.
That doesn't even work.
It's about who's taking you on a date.
See, and it's nuances. It's a small. It does work, but after a certain point, in time.
I'm joking.
One thing, for example, I learned that at the start, it doesn't matter about how much money you have. At the start, it's about how much of a good leader you are, and then the money thing kicks in.
But girls do look like, and generally they look at money.
Yeah, I agree.
And let's be honest, for us, like
it's to get your foot in the door.
For example, like me, like I love my wife. I believe she's the most beautiful woman on this planet. If her job was collecting like dustbin, for example.
I wouldn't care.
I don't care.
I would not care.
But for a woman, it's not the same. If you was collecting dustbin,
to all the sisters watching at home,
best believe she ain't telling her friends, hey, my husband to be is a dustbin collector.
To all the sisters, believe our words. To all the sisters watching at home, we do not care if you work at McDonald's.
For all the sisters that said no to him.
No.
Look where he is now. I'm joking.
What we care about is you being smiley, agreeable,
and not handsome like this guy,
and not being
Andrew Tate glasses,
and not being a HOE, right?
But what about men? Why, when men do it, they get away with it? This is what sisters are going to be asking. Why is it when men do it, they get away with it?
Because we don't get impacted the same way. Biologically.
It's a fact. It's a fact. At the end of the day, again, this doesn't mean, because in the sight of Allah, you commit a sinner, you're a man or a woman, you die on it, good for you. If you're in an Islamic state, madness, man getting lashed like it's happy days. Slash, okay. It is, it's peak, you get me?
There's official studies that are done on this.
That doesn't differentiate. In Islam, the impact might affect the woman more, but in the Sharia, if you get caught, man's getting lashed nice.
In Islam, obviously, they're both huge sins, male or woman.
That's what, maybe alcohol.
But on a scientific level, there's studies. A woman sleeping with 3 men is equivalent to a man sleeping to 60 women in terms of emotional impact. Obviously, that is difficult to measure. But that's just what one study says, that is an insight.
Yes. When it comes to pair bonding, like we said before, a woman release oxytocin, which helps the pair bonding, and the more intimate partners she has, it's like a knife going numb. It doesn't work. Not numb. Blunt.
Yeah.
It's going blunt. Yeah.
Yep.
It doesn't do the job anymore, and that is the reason why women tend to, when they're in these marriages or things, they do not know how to love anymore.
Yep.
They don't know, and it has a greater impact on it. I mean, that's it. I mean, the Muslim. I mean, you're better than Andrew Tate, bro. Ban Andrew Tate, you get me? So what should we call you? What's your name?
Momin.
Huh?
Momin.
Mu'min, mashallah. Where's that mu'min, bro?
Thank
you get me? Inshallah, may Allah make you a mu'min. Any last points you want to give? If their sisters want to marry you, how should they approach you? And maybe you have to speak to their wali, the father, of course.
Yes.
Yeah? So tell us a bit about yourself. Maybe somebody wants to marry you.
Sisters out there.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'1" with shoes on. Sisters out there.
I'm 6'2".
You're amazing, man.
Okay.
Sisters out there.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
23, mashallah, you're young.
Yeah. Sisters out there, genuinely. Not yet. It's not amazing yet. One day. But no, genuinely, sisters out there.
Yeah.
Stop relying on your instincts. Stop relying on the internet.
And feminism.
And stop relying on your friends.
Yes.
Right? Follow your dad. Genuinely. I think follow Islam, but I think in Islam we have the system of the wali or the brother. Or your dad wants the best for you. Your dad is not your enemy. My sister got married. Alhamdulillah, she's in a great marriage. The reason is, one, she never put herself out there too much, so she never got that much male attention. Now when she's with her husband and her husband gives her attention, it's amazing. It's amazing. So a woman's beauty is in protection. She should be protected.
She wants to be protected by her nature. She wants to be protected, yes.
A woman that is protected by her father, by her brother, whatever.
And then transferred to her husband.
Yes. Is something we really value. We are looking for that woman who's been protected from all this weird social conditioning.
We want a woman to protect.
I'll give an example. I'm doing a decent job. I have lots of money stored away in investments and stuff.
Is it now?
But I'm gonna.
How many wives do you want?
I'm not trying to be arrogant,
Listen, how many wives do you want? Be honest.
I think if I get really rich, I'll maybe be able to afford 2. But for now, it's just one. It's just one.
I think that's good. It's in a halal way, and you're gonna do it in the right way. You're not gonna have a side chick or a mistress or a girlfriend. You're gonna do it in the right way.
I was gonna give an example. Lots of student girls can outspend me. They're going to Hakkasan. It goes with hijab on and everything. It's student loan money. They just get money thrown at them. They have not even worked a day in their life. They get money thrown at them.
But it's like that. It's easy for a woman. All you have to do is wear makeup.
You have a head start. You have a head start.
You do.
And if you abuse it, right, it's going to catch up to you. And honestly, I think the career myth is a bit of a lie. Everyone. I'm a guy. I don't even like my career.
Bruv, there was a study done. This book it's called Miseducation of Women. There was a study done of 100,000 men and women in UK and USA over 30 years. They found out that women are less happier since the rise of feminism. What does that show you? Women prefer, not to work. They don't want to work, bruv.
I don't want to work.
The only reason, you have to work, bruv.
I have to work.
You have to work to provide and protect. The point is this. You're being sold a massive lie of a career woman. You're going to reach the age of 30, 35, where you cannot have kids anymore because you're not as fertile as you was when you were young. And now it's harder to find somebody. And on top of that, this whole notion of career, your career is not going to be there. Don't fall for this massive lie. Buy this book. I recommend 2 books for the sisters, Beauty Sick and James Toomey, The Miseducation of Women. It really exposes that anytime you look for solutions outside the Quran and the Sunnah, you're bound to suffer. And now we are seeing men go into red pill. You're going to suffer as well. You're going to suffer. Trying to be Andrew Tate, bro. Who the hell is Andrew Tate? He's a no-value man. I've said this before. The guy is a no-value man. To a Muslim man, he's got nothing to offer. He commits shirk. He's the worst of the worst. Unless he accepts Islam and repents, he might be a bit better than us. So I think that's it.
Thank you, bro.
Inshallah. If you get married, call me to your nikah. Make sure there's lobster in the wedding, please.
Inshallah.
King prawns. Till next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Barakallahu feek. Now bless you. I've seen it before, bro. Is it? I've seen it before.
Ali,
big man,
you need to do about the Buttercup, man.
Wallahi, you are the second person. I was just on the phone.
Bro, this is a problem.
I was on the phone to Inappropriate.
Oh, no, it was a good
I was on the phone to him. I'm arranging a meeting.
But
I want to do private. Because if I do video, it's going to say it's personal.
Yeah, fine, fair enough.
So I've been on the call, bro. It's
I don't think it's personal.
It is. It's not only that, bro. It's can be classed as deceiving.
It's very deceiving.
Because you're making videos in Lambo. You don't have a Lambo.
Lamborghini is rented.
And who said 6 figures? Why is it, who says 6 figures is happiness?
Well, who says living in Dubai is happiness?
No, I know. The point is, you're doing the same method of this profile as Andrew Tate.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you said that.
And look, I don't mind the issue that, oh, get a second wife. Even that I believe is a bit childish. Yeah, it's not a joke. Second, third wife is not a joke. You don't just wake up and... So it's done in a proper way. But to use that tool of second, third, fourth wife, earn 6 figures, who says 6 figures is happiness?
Well, you're just trying to... You're according to the dunya, man.
No, exactly. And you're using butter. Actually, the Badr and the Sahaba lost their lives. They lost their wealth and lives for this. And it's not right. Look, I don't believe the guy's intention is wrong. The intention is right, the execution is terrible. So I want to advise him privately.
I reckon they probably come from the direction that they've seen Andrew Tate and they've seen all these
I understand. They want to make a halal solution.
But they're just rewrapping it.
Yes, exactly.
They're just rewrapping that.
Look, send it. Look, this is Abu Taymiyyah. Just so he knows, yeah? Assalamu alaikum. This is the second brother that's supposed to... Did I tell you to come?
No.
Okay, what's your concern?
Well, listen, the whole Badr Club thing is, to me, as a person who's kind of like, I'm growing up, I'm married now, everything, I've seen all of this. All around. I see that. I see videos calling to, Dubai and 6-figure salaries and Lamborghinis and things like that. Well, you're directing people away from the direction it should be aiming. What it seems to me is it seems like it's a halal alternative.
It's not him, by the way, it's Abu Taymiyyah. His friends.
Fair enough. It's like an attempt to make a halal alternative to this like Andrew Tate craze and stuff like that. It sounds like it's trying to appeal to people's like hunger for the dunya, which isn't what you want to do. At the end of the day, like you talk about Badr, you're calling it the Badr Club, but the Badr is a battle, man. Battles are not small. Battles are people died there. People put everything on the line, everything they had, and lost it all. They sold it, the dunya, for the akhirah. And even the whole Quran talks about like spread in the name of Allah. Spend your money, your wealth, your lives in the name of Allah. You shouldn't be aiming for Lamborghinis, especially somewhere like Dubai. But you're filming it in Dubai. Everyone knows it's slave labor that's built all that, man. It's not real. This is a fallacy, man. I think it's definitely a good idea, man.
No, I definitely wouldn't.
I'm glad you said all that. So me and my wife were discussing it earlier. And like, you said all the stuff we were saying, man. I agree with you.
Yeah, I was going to do a public video and I thought, I'm going to go private first. Then I'll say, you know what?
Yeah, fair enough, man. Take care, man.